today we got the American Lifan Kp Mini 150cc bike. We took it and we assembled it as you guys saw. We rode it a little bit. So now it's time to go ahead and change the oil on it after we broke it in and adjust the chain and go over a few things on there. So what we're going to do is some service work on it, show you guys how to do it, go through everything. We're going to drop the oil, put new oil in. We're going to also adjust the chain. So anyways, without any further ado, let's get on with it. Shall we?
Would you luch me? I'd luch me. I'd luch me hard.
I recommend when you first change the oil in it to use just a regular oil. Don't put in synthetic or anything like that. Use a regular 10W40, 15W40, whichever is recommended for your area. Regular type oil, but make sure it's a 4-stroke oil and a wet clutch oil. Because you don't want to use a regular oil, you want to use a wet clutch oil specifically for motorcycles. Alright, so let's get to changing this oil. Shall we?
Alright guys, so now that you got everything prepped and ready, what you want to do is you want to take your socket, which is an 18mm socket. You want to go on underneath. I already found the plug, broke it loose already a little bit. But you want to break your plug loose and then drop it into your pan. Now what you also want to do is you want to loosen up the dipstick a little bit as well. He said dipstick. But you want to loosen up the dipstick as well to let it vent so it'll come out quicker. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop this drain plug. Let it go ahead and drop into the pan. Get that. Get a rag, of course, because we've got to keep ourselves clean. So anyways, you want to get your oil drained on down. Get your plug out. Inspect your plug. See if there's any nastiness on there. Plug looks pretty good. And then what you want to do as well is you want to stand your bike straight up and get everything out of there. So let's go ahead and get our dipstick pulled as well to vent. Anyways, you're going to want to let that all drain out. And as you can see down there, there's just barely a couple little drops coming out. So we're going to go ahead and set it back down. Let it all drain all the way out because there could have been some setting on the side. So you want to move it around a little bit, give it a nice little shake and make sure everything comes out of there, okay? Now that we got the oil drained out, we're going to go ahead and put our drain plug back in. And you want to make sure when you put it in here, you want to make sure and tighten up, back your thread up a little bit to make sure you're lined up. And then just, as long as it eases right back in, tighten it up all the way by hand till it's snug. And then after that, go ahead and take your 18mm and your ratchet, get it on under there. And tighten it up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to leave the camera down there. We're going to get the oil in right now. And then we're going to start it and check it for leaks. So let's go ahead and get some oil in there right now and start from there, all right? This commercial break is brought to you by the Luch Kp Shopping Network. Shop Lucci. Shop smart. Shop L Smart.
We fight for freedom! We fight for the freedom to build buggies and ATVs and to drive them wherever we want, whenever we want, and we'll fight for the freedom for our families and for our families until we can fight no longer. And for the little ones too, pop a corn for the children. We fight for every freedom in our families. Right, Rico? Right.
Alright guys, so now that we got the oil drained and everything like that, we're going to go ahead and put the oil in. And like I said, I recommend you go ahead and use a wet clutch oil and use a regular type oil. Don't put synthetic in until you've given the time for the rings to seat, or the valves to seat and the rings to get everything to get broken in. Alright, so we're going to start off with putting in a 1/2 quart and check the window from there, alright? So let's get in a 1/2 quart. Okay, So we got a half a quart in there right now. And we're going to go ahead and tilt this back and see it. And this is the window right here that I'm talking about. So right now we are setting on the low setting, if you guys can even see that. But we need to put some more in there. This thing's really, really cool. You know, it's a 5-speed 150cc bike. You guys can check this out and other products. So American Lifan the KP Mini. I really recommend this bike. I'm 235, 240 pounds, 6 foot, and it pulls me along just fine. Like I said, I hit second gear. I hit 42 miles an hour, so I'm really impressed by this bike.
I am manual transmission!
So let's go ahead and tilt it back up and look in the window here. Let's see where we're at. Okay, we are level. And we are just there. So what we're going to do now is it's about 3/4 of a quart. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get this funnel out, and then we'll put the oil filler cap on, and we'll give it a start and then see where we get from there. Now when you start this, what you want to do is you don't want to rev it up. You want to start it, let it idle for a second, and let that oil get up there on the top end. All right? So let's check it out. Let it idle a little bit, build up some pressure. Really, really smooth bike. I love this thing. Really, really nifty stuff. So, anyways, we'll shut it off. We're going to go ahead and check the oil level right now and see where we're at from there, okay? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to stand it straight up again. Bring it level. Let's see where the oil level goes. Okay, so we definitely got to get some more in there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get this topped off and get back to you guys. All right, guys, so we've topped off our oil. It was about a 1.25 quarts. Now, standing it up here and putting it at this level, I did run the bike for a minute and then let it set. It's reading just below the line. So what I'm going to do is you got to run the bike around the block for a minute and then come back and you check your oil and then top it off. It took approximately 1.25 quarts of oil, so I'm figuring I'm pretty close to dead on. So we'll check it, of course, afterwards and everything like that. What we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and tighten up the chain for you guys and get the chain tightened up, show you how to do that, and then go on with it. All right? All right, guys, so let's get on to adjusting the chain. Okay, so what you're going to need here is an 18mm socket, again, just like your drain plug, and your 1/2-inch drive ratchet. Now, underneath, what I'm going to do is I'm going to point this out here. You got right here, you have these lines, and they're all there, and you're going to have to count those lines, so keep that in mind. And then you're going to have two 13mm or 1/2-inch nuts here that you have to back one off and use the other one to tighten in to bring on your lines. And we'll go over that in a second, all right? So, like I said, you got the lines right here, and then you got the 1/2-inch right here, or 13mm. You're going to loosen up the top nut and bring that back. So, we're going to go ahead and get on this right now and get this loosened up and ready to go, okay?
What's the capital of Thailand?
You want to make sure as well too, when you tighten this up, you need to tighten it up very, very good. All right? Okay, so we got to loosen up to adjust the chain some, and we got a little bit of slop in the chain because riding it and breaking it in, you know, was a little harder on it. and which I wanted to see what this thing would do. So, we got to tighten up the chain a little bit. So anyways, what you want to do is you want to take one wrench and you want to back up that nut and you want to loosen the back one a little bit, okay? And you want to do the same thing on this side as well. You want to back that nut, and then loosen that one up a little bit, okay? Bring that one back. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to count our lines right here first. If you guys can see that. We're going to count each one of these lines to see where we're at. So I'll get on the other side and I'm going to count it, and then I'll count the other one there. Okay, so we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines, okay? So we are 1, 2, 3, 4 lines from the inside out back, okay? On center of axle. Okay, so we're going to look on this side, do the same thing. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? And on this as well, we are 1, 2, 3, 4 on center. Okay? So then if you look here too, there's these other lines here. You can go from there or you can go from there. I'm going to choose to go from the center right there. All right? So we'll tighten this up a little bit to where I see that it's comfortable some. Two, 3 turns. Okay, so now we are 1, we are 3 lines back now. Okay, so let's get to the other side, do the same thing. Okay, so now what we're going to end up doing is we're going to count these front lines here to make sure everything's even. Alright guys, as you can see here, there's some lines up top here, and I'll blow this up in here and from the other side show you as well. You have 5 lines up here. Okay, you actually have 7 lines. Now I went from the 4th line to the 3rd line. So I brought it back 1 straight line. Now you also, on the front lines here, where the marker is, there's a little arrow up, and it's on the very first line. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that those lines all line up properly on each side. Okay? Okay, so as you see, we're 1, 2, 3 lines in is on the center here. And then you also see there's a little line there with an arrow. That is on the very first line. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. So everything lines up accordingly. All right? So now what you need to do after you've done that is you need to take the nuts that you've tightened up, bring the other nut back there, back that nut up, and tighten it down. Now what this is going to do is this is going to lock those into position, so they're not going to move anywhere on your chain adjustment, okay? And once you've done that, once those are good and tight, You want to take your 18 millimeter. You want to tighten back your axle up. Okay? Now you want to make sure and tighten this very tight. I want to say to about 65 Luch meters. All right? Okay, so now we've tightened up the chain on the bike. Okay, so now that we've gotten the chain tightened up, what we want to do is we want to go over everything. We've checked the rear axle. The rear axle is tight. The chain is tight. The handlebars are tight. We also have the drain plug, which we're going to check the drain plug again to make sure that that's tight as well. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to also go to the front. You want to check and make sure your front axle is tight as well too. And that is same size nut as the rear axle, 18 millimeter. You want to check that guy. Nice and snug. Okay.
Reach in the bag and pull it out. I begin to gummify. Ah! Reach in the bag and pull it out. I begin to gummify. Ah! Reach in the bag, reach in the bag. Reach in the bag, reach in the bag. I begin to gummify. Ah!
After you've assembled it, you've broke it in, you've changed the oil, you've adjusted the chain, you've checked everything over, you want to do a safety check on it as well too. So what you're going to do is you're going to turn on your key, you're going to start it, you're going to turn on your headlights, you're going to turn on your high beam, you're going to turn on your left signal. You're going to check your left signal, front and back, okay? You're going to hit your cancel button. You're going to check your right signal, front and back, okay? Cancel button. Now what you're going to want to do there after that is you're going to want to check your passing light, okay? Which is that little button up top there, which is working great. You got that down. So now where you want to go here is you want to check your hazards, okay? You got your hazards on all the way around. Bada bing, isn't that awesome? So now that you got your hazards checked, you want to check your front brake. Your front brake is working great. You want to get on there, and you want to check your back brake. Your back brake's working great. Okay? You're going to dip your brake, everything feels fine. Rear brake, everything feels great. Okay? So anyways, that's the American Lifan Kp Mini 150. You guys can check this bike out at County Imports as well as American Lifan. Call County Imports, tell them that Dorito and Luch Kp sent you. They might give you a discount on it. But ultimately, I really love this bike. It's really quick. It's nice and quiet. It's good high RPM bike. Handles great. So I hope you guys like it. I want to go ahead and ask you guys, if you haven't already hit that like or that subscribe button, go ahead and do it. If you haven't subscribed by now as well too, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And we got many more videos coming up, so don't forget to come back to Dorito and the Luch Kp. Peace.
He's pretty slow downstairs in the feet, but he's pretty fast upstairs in the cabeza.